Hi, I'm Shaman Harper, and this is Yolanda Harper from Harper Therapy. And I think this is our audition for... Oh, wait a minute, it's not an audition, is it? That's actually... Now, actually, we wanted to talk a little bit today about how soon is too soon for couples counseling.
Your burning question. I know it's burning right there.
Right. Well,
Right,
I mean...
right there.
And a little bit of full disclosure, we are kind of proponents for couples counseling.
We happen to be advocates. We think everyone should benefit from some therapy.
Right. And I mean, you had some examples. We were on our way over here driving, and Yolanda had some examples of famous couples.
So we're not the only ones, right? There are some really high-profile couples who are on the couples therapist bandwagon, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so some examples are Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard.
Yeah.
Beyonce and Jay-Z. Those are some examples of couples that have been very vocal in expressing their own benefits for couples therapy.
Yeah.
Right?
So I don't know where you came across this statistic, but
it's
somewhere
statistic.
along the lines, there's a statistic that says couples seek an average or wait an average of 6 years.
So this is a legitimate statistic. This is from the Gottmans.
Oh, okay, the Gottmans.
Yeah, no, I don't just pull these
Well,
numbers out of thin air.
I mean, you show it to me and I buy it. I don't know.
So John and Julie Gottman are the gurus of relationships. They've been studying what makes relationships work for the past 40 plus years. And their statistic indicates that couples wait an average of 6 years.
So is that 6 years after troubles start?
The statistic was six years, but I would say from the time that the problem or they notice that there's a problem.
Something off, right?
Mm-hmm. So that's 6 years worth of arguments, blood, sweat, tears, like the struggle in the relationship. That's
Right.
6 years worth of injury that is going to have to be undone, right? That's going to have to be healed.
In some cases, if it can be undone.
Right.
And and really, I think it could have much easily be dealt with.
We'll use it. If I can make up statistics, you can make up words.
I make up words all the time.
So yeah, I mean, couples tend to seek help long after they think they should need it. Right? And I use that word need in quotations because a lot of times there is, we don't pay attention to those early signs. Right? And they happen early in relationships because we're two flawed human beings coming together in a marriage, in a relationship.
Well, right. And then, some of it's just like, well, what's just average and what's something we really should focus on.
Right.
And I mean, there's probably room to focus on something from the very beginning, right?
If there's a pain point for you in your relationship, it's wise to address it earlier on.
Right. I mean, that completely makes sense,
Yeah. So, even early in our relationship, we got married in Huntsville, Alabama, and our honeymoon was to drive across the United States to Arizona.
Where I was in the Army and stationed.
In a pickup truck about this big. 3 days.
I don't know whatever's going wrong there.
Nothing in the state of Texas. Like that is gas station food right there.
Right.
And I remember finally getting to Arizona and jumping out of the cab of that pickup truck and thinking, this was not what I signed up for. But it's those interactions, those pain points that we tend to not pay attention to or dismiss or sweep it under the rug or hope it goes away. Or we get so busy with jobs and careers and kids and all of that kind of stuff that we just don't take the time.
Right. I mean, and there's really not a point that's too early.
Right.
I mean, here at Harper Therapy, we even offer premarital services. So, there's no bad way to start getting involved in how do I develop tools to improve my relationship over the future.
Well, and some of that we focus on with couples when they're not in crisis, and let's be honest, it's easier to make changes to something when
Right.
it's not a crisis state. So if you are at a pain point of a 5 or a 6 in your relationship, it's much easier to bring that down to a 2 or a 3, something much more,
Right.
navigable, than as opposed to when there's crisis, when things have reached affair, when couples are talking divorce. When you're at an 8, 9, 10, it's much more difficult to address those. So some of the things that you focus on in couples therapy outside of those crisis situations is that, in our lives, we, through our growing up years, family of origin, we learn unhealthy ways of showing up in relationship. No relationship is perfect. We have our not so adult, mature ways that we interact with each other when
What do you mean?
things hit the fan. I'm speaking for myself. So we can learn new ways of showing up in relationship, ways of tapping into that adult, mature version of ourselves instead of reverting to the angsty, angry teenage version of ourselves.
Right. And that kind of stuff really plays into like that 4 horsemen thing we've talked about many times before, where like, these are things that seriously can be problems in your relationship.
Yeah.
And if you don't have tools to work through these things, they could be like a showstopper.
Yeah. And so, those 4 horsemen are ways of communicating. We've addressed that before. And they're maladaptive ways of communicating in relationships.
Is that a word?
Maladaptive. Yes. That's a 50-cent word.
That's almost as nice as easy go easy.
So, couples counseling, typically the phone calls that we get are that couples want to improve their communication. And that is a way. But again, once you've been in a relationship for 6, 10, 12, 20, how many years? 24?
50,000 years.
Those patterns towards that maladaptive communication are much more ingrained. It's harder to undo those.
Right.
So couples counseling can give some tools for how to work through those communication issues. It's a safe place to go to talk and have uncomfortable conversations that we avoid having.
Well, that's easy, right? I mean, we think it's easy until it's festered to a point where it's just everything in the relationship, and then you can't get over it.
Yeah. So conversations about sex, about money, right? The ones that are taboo and are hard for us to navigate through because it's easier to just not have them, but those problems don't go away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it also is a good place to work through transitions in the relationship and in life. So having a child, research indicates, can be really highly stressful for the couple. It's one of those difficult points to work through.
Right.
We can testify to that.
I mean,
right?
you come out on the backside of that as different people.
Yeah, you're different. And,
and your relationship is different.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that just kind of necessitates, how do we work through this? Right?
Yeah. How do we renegotiate our identities and how we're showing up in our relationships and still focus on each other, right?
Right.
So changes in job, careers, those types of things. If you and your relationship, if you or your partner has an ongoing situation, an ongoing stress or an ongoing health concern, that type of thing, therapy can be a good place to kind of navigate through some of those things as well.
Right.
So the short answer of how soon is too soon for couples therapy is
Today.
Call us today.
No, I mean, there isn't.
Here's the
There's
question.
not a too soon.
Here's my question for you. I'm going to pose a question to that question, and that question is, question. Have you suffered enough? Have you and your partner, has there been enough pain? Are you ready for it to be different? Are you ready for it to be, each of us comes into a relationship. Well, I'll speak for myself. I came into marriage thinking that it was going to be one thing, and in reality, just because we're spoon-fed that.
Well, what?
Because a lot of us were spoon-fed that fairy tale, relationship.
But my marriage is a fairy tale.
Shrek. Yes. relationship. But that makes me Fiona, I guess. Anyway, a little tangent. So if you and your partner are ready, have been in pain for long enough, and are ready for something different, call us. You can schedule a session with our couples expert, Giara.
She's awesome.
She's fantastic. And also, give us a call or reach out to us via the website. We are working on some upcoming offerings of couples retreats and intensives. So if you would like to be on our list for information when those come about, let us know. Otherwise, have a great day. Do something fun with your partner today. You guys have a good one.